What up, everybody? Welcome to Legacy TV and the Convo podcast. And when I tell you guys that I really did sell CDs in the streets, like when I say I did that shit for real, like I really did that. And this is another man that met me doing that back in the days when I was out there hustling, trying to get my music out there, which has never stopped. But this is not about me today. I have the honor and the blessing. I've been trying to get this man here, and I know he's so busy with, like, you talk about training some of the best fighters in the world. Like, this is that guy for real. You know, he's trained too many people for me to sit there and just start naming names. But what I will tell you is this guy's a legend when it comes to being a coach, one of the best to ever do it. Jason Parilllo. What's up, bro? Thank you, bro, man. You made my day,
God
bro.
bless you.
God bless you, bro, man.
Yeah.
Like this really meant a lot to me, bro, for you to come through. I know how busy you are. You know, I've been wanting to train with you too, and it's like I even wanted to come to your gym back in the day. I know you remember me texting. You were like, well, bro, like we got a lot of stuff going on here right now, but I'm gonna see if I can find you somewhere. But yeah, bro, just really appreciative of you being here today and blessing me with your time, bro.
Hey, man, thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments. Where did I tell you to go train? Did I tell you to go train somewhere?
You said you were going to look into it, and then I text you back, said, I found somewhere.
Okay.
And then I think we talked about where I was going to go, and you're like, that's a good spot. I think so, something short like that. But yeah, bro, like, let's get right into it, bro. So, like, Jason, like, you grew up in Orange County?
I did. Well, yeah, I did. I was born in New York. I'm from New York originally, upstate. And moved here when I was a kid.
East Coast. I was born in Boston.
Coast. Oh yeah.
So you were born in New York. I didn't know that about you. How long did you live in New York for?
I moved out here 5-6 years old.
Same. I moved to Santa Ana around the same time.
I'd spend every summer through elementary school and junior high. I'd spend every summer back in New York, but I grew up for the most part in Orange County.
Did you move out here with like a certain family member?
My family, my mom and dad.
Did your mom and dad stay together when you moved there?
They stayed together till I was probably around 18, I think.
18?
So I made it through. Well, it's not like I was really at home much. So it's like I didn't.
I know how that goes.
Yeah.
Shit, I wasn't at home.
I was out at 14 for the most part.
Me at like 12, 13, I was in the streets, bro. It was crazy. Crazy. I remember I used to steal my mom's cigarettes.
See, I fortunately wasn't in the streets. I had friends' houses that I would just basically live out fucking full time. But yeah, you were in the streets. That's where I met you. Was in the streets.
In the streets, yeah. I'm still in the streets. I'm trying to stay out the streets. What I'm trying to do is do something positive, bro. And yeah, like. So when you were growing up, like, do you remember what type of lifestyle you were accustomed to? Were you hanging out with good kids? Were you getting in trouble? Tell me a little bit
Always
about...
bad kids.
Always bad kids.
I was attracted to bad kids when I was younger.
That's why you were so nice to me. Yeah. You're like, I like this guy.
I'm like, this kid's hustling, though. You know, I saw you hustling there, so I said, I'll take the CD.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. It was good, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. But like, yeah, so when you were you getting in trouble as a youngster? Were you fighting a lot? Like, what were you doing? Were you doing sports? Like, what were you kind of into? When
I was probably one of the first white guys that's acting like he's a black guy when I was a fucking kid. I swear to God. When I was at my school, it was a predominantly white neighborhood. And I would roll into anybody that went to school with me will vouch for this story because I stood out like a sore thumb. Yeah. And a white guy had Guess overalls with a belt, and they'd hang, and I'd be wearing my shoes. I'd be wearing a Raiders cap, a Raiders jacket. You know what I mean? Walking around like
grew up in that time, bro.
I did. Yeah, this was in the 80s.
Yeah,
and I had some friends. See, I met Joe Hernandez, one of my best friends when I was growing up, was a Mexican kid from the neighborhood, and then his brother or his cousin was a gangster. He was a Crip, like he used to, and he lived in Artesia and Norwalk and all those areas. And I would start hanging out with it when I was I'm talking 12, 13 years old. I'd hang out with him all the time. I would go down there and hang out with him because I liked it. You know what I mean?
It's exciting.
It felt tough. You know what I mean? I didn't feel tough in my. I was a midget too. I was a tiny little kid. I mean, it's not like everybody could whoop my ass if they wanted to, probably. But I liked being around these tough guys.
Tough guys, yeah.
These guys that really had, and probably had more of a similar family.
What do you think? What do you think it was about the tough guys that attracted you? Like the respect that they got.
The respect that they got.
I think that's a lot. Yeah. A lot of what it was for me too. It was like I want to be like, like I remember I kind of had the same, upbringing and grew up around brothers and stuff like that, and so I was always the odd one out. I was always the Persian one, but I rap too, and I'm just like you, and like I talk like them, and so it was always kind of awkward for me because I'd get into a lot of fights because of that. It was like because of the area, because of the people you hang around and stuff like that. But for you, like, you were already attracted to that lifestyle, which I think a lot of people are, and especially in the time that we grew up.
The time that I was with, nobody. Nowadays, yes. Nowadays, 100%. I swear. But back then, nobody. I was an out. Not that I was an outcast. I still. I managed to always kind of at school still hang out with the cool kids and whatnot, but nobody was like even my buddies had to be like. Although my buddies were doing the same thing. I had Joe. He was he had the little bit of a gangster thing. I probably wrote it out longer than he did though, because I really was attracted to it. But it's funny too. Even with rap today and music today and this type of thing. It reminds me of being a kid. So that's why I'm not like, I see like my fighter Chito Vera. He's got boys that are rappers and this and that. And I'm always kind of, come on, man. I bet he doesn't realize that I'm an old man. Yeah. I'm not an old man, but I've been around the block and it reminds me of that time of my life. So not that I'm not attracted to it. I love good music, no matter what it is.
But not that lifestyle.
But not that like type of thinking.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you say. For me, like that lifestyle, I put to the side a long time ago. It's like I'm still that same guy. I still can be tough and be through all those things, but the music is still in me, and I just do it as art. And
of course,
yeah. I mean that.
Well, that's what you're attracted to begin with, as
right?
Well,
it's not about that. Like for me, you grow. Like I think people grow up out of that stage, and like
that's what it feels like. And it's not that I was a gang man. I wasn't a gang. I just liked it. And I actually got and I got made fun of it for the most part being at school. I was original. The W word with the N word following it behind it. You know what I mean? You're back in the day.
That's what they would call them. Yeah. I think people related a lot to hip hop, a lot to that lifestyle and what was popular at the time. And I think a lot of people. I don't think it was just necessarily one particular race. I think it was a lot of people that wanted to dress and act like that.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So it was more like just an era, you know? Because if you look at most of the gang members nowadays, no offense to any gang members, but a lot of them wear like skinny jeans. And like back in the days, like
I wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I wouldn't even.
Don't get offended, y'all. I'm just joking. But like, yeah, like I still haven't got used to that, but like. What I'm saying is like times change, people change. So like, what did that lifestyle lead you down to? What made you did you like, cause you didn't really mention doing any sports or anything. So you're just kind of like thugging it.
I actually did play. Well, I actually did. I played football. My freshman and sophomore year, I played football. I had to get
what school?
Villa Park.
Villa Park. Okay.
And they had to give, I had to get little kids. They had to go to Little League football teams to get, because no pads, no gear would fit me, because I literally, when I was 18 years old, when I was 17 or 18, I looked like I was 12.
Damn.
Wearing Raiders jackets and shit.
You're talking one of the best coaches in the world saying that. Okay. That's crazy to think about. So you were smaller.
Oh, fuck, dude. I was pubescent, man. I didn't even have armpit hairs when I graduated high school. Think about that. Can you imagine?
That's crazy. Yeah. Man. So you just kind of one of those people that grew up a little bit.
I was fucking with no pubic hair when I was a kid.
Damn. That's crazy.
No, but I mean, in all realness, and I didn't stay. I mean, probably played football, wasn't a starter. I actually started a couple of my freshman games. Coach Moody loved me to death, the coach at the time. And
shout out to Coach Moody.
Shout out to Coach Moody. I don't think he's still around actually anymore. But
to his family.
God bless him.
God bless him.
But yeah, but I
What'd you play?
Really got into partying. Huh?
What would you play like football position?
Cornerback.
Oh shit, that's a fun ass position.
Yeah.
I played nose guard and center.
Yeah.
I loved fucking football.
And then on the special team, I was kill position for crazy. I was a midget, but I can hit you right in the knees.
You catch your ass. And you're probably fast too.
I was fast. Yeah, I've always been fast, but yeah, I really just got. I mean, well, granted, and when I was 13, 14, another good friend of mine, Corky Hine, his name's Corky Hine is his name. Corky, his brother Mark Hine took us to Chuck Bodock. I don't know if you remember Chuck Bodock, but he was from Santa Ana, and he was a cut man for you name him, Muhammad Ali, Rocky Marciano. I mean, the guys, but he's passed away.
Old
now.
School, like legend.
A real Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Real Hall of Famer. But I went over, we trained over there for a little bit, but not too long. I'm 13 years old. I had more of a dysfunctional family, so it's not like I was going to get rides at 13 down to a gym that was, half hour away from my house or whatever. But I loved it. I wanted to do it, but I had been in martial arts earlier. I took a Polynesian karate called Lua Lima, and that was in the city of Orange. And I did that for a handful of years before, when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, or a little earlier than that probably, actually, if I think about it. Probably 10, 11, 12. God, dude, it's crazy to think.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this, bro. Because I wanted, that's one of the things that, like, when it gets overlooked, I think sometimes is people like you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's people that really want to know, like, man, how did you get to that point to where you coach? Like, let's not get into all the names yet because I want to get there. But I mean, it's like, it's history. It's like it can't be redone what you've done. So it's like, this is where it started for you. And that, so initially when you like at that age, so at 13 you already started, like you already liked martial arts.
I did martial arts before that. Yeah, 13 I got into boxing. Yeah,
that was the main thing that you really started to like.
Yeah,
who's your favorite boxer?
I can't even answer that question because
at the time.
It's crazy because at that time is when probably I really got into boxing. I was watching. I remember
there had to be somebody.
I think about 14 or 15 years old. I'm watching TV in Johnny Tapia's first fight since he got out of prison, right? And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I like the fucking the tough, dangerous motherfuckers. This guy's. I like this guy.
Yeah,
me too. And he whoop his ass, and I love Johnny Tapia.
Yeah. Because people like people with the story, bro. People like, I mean, not saying people don't like people with the story, but people love to see people, the underdog, win. People that have been through a lot of shit and made mistakes, change their lives, and there's stories like that make people gravitate to a sport like that.
Oh, 100%. There's anger in you and you don't know what from, whatever it's fucking trauma from being a kid or whatever the hell's going on.
Yeah.
You're attracted to people that want to kick ass.
Yeah.
And that's 100%. Just like, God bless, man. Let's go. I like this motherfucker.
So you start boxing like when at that age?
Oh, so around that age too, at the same time, Sean McCauley, a guy that I grew up with, we've known each other.
That's a big name from out here too.
Oh yeah, sure. He's a legend.
I know that name. Like I'm sure a lot of people don't, but like the McCauleys, right?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Yeah.
Brother Justin McCauley, who was younger than me, and then Sean McCauley, who was older than me. And
you started training with them?
Me and Sean started training together. I said, matter of fact, how we started. At my school now. The baddest motherfucker in the school was Sean McCauley. Sean McCauley, when he was a sophomore and I was a freshman, he was beating up all the baddest seniors. He knocked out fucking parents. I swear to God, this guy's a violent motherfucker, man. He used to fuck everybody. Like, still today, I've been around a lot of fucking people, a lot of fighters, and fighters come from tough guys in their life. There's still not a guy that I could compare to Sean McCauley. Dude, this guy's a killer. never. I mean, he's doing good now. He's out in Costa Rica, but regardless, Sergeant Arthur, I just knew about this guy. Right? We were in Spanish class together, so I had a little bit of relationship with him. And I'm a little fucking peanut. And we're at this fucking party, and I'm sitting at the party. And I look over where it's a bonfire. I look over, I go, hey, and I knew that he trained. He was in the, his uncle was Steven Seagal. Like his dad was a Secret Serviceman, and him and Steven Seagal used to work together. From what I understand, this was the story back then, which is, I believe, true. It's still true today. It's never been proven different to me, but he trained with Seagal. He was doing Aikido, right?
Yeah.
In kickboxing and boxing. He's actually the one that brought me down at that time. This is when I met my coach, Jesse Reed, at Westminster Boxing, because he could drive, I couldn't. I was younger than him, and I didn't have a driver's license, nothing, but I had already experienced some boxing a little bit. But I asked him, we're at the party, and I look at him, I go, hey, I hear you do martial arts. And I'm like, I would love to do that with you, because I had done it when I was a kid, and I loved it, and I don't have a way to get, I can't pay for it. I don't have a way to get there with it, but I knew that's what I wanted. I loved it. I loved it more than anything in the world. So he's like, and he saw that there was a fucking, obviously, who's this fucking kid? Like, he knew me because we knew each other in class. He was always cool to me. Sean wasn't cool to everybody.
Yeah.
There's a very few people he's cool to because he was a fucking, like I said, he was a
menace.
He was the baddest dude in school as a sophomore.
Yeah.
You still got junior and seniors above you, big football players. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
He'll fuck you up.
Oh,
he'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
So he goes, yep. He goes, I got you.
Yeah.
Right then I started training him. Yeah, he's a good dude. We actually would go to L.A., do some Aikido. I did some Aikido but I wasn't really attracted to the Aikido. I was more attracted to maybe kickboxing and boxing type of thing.
Yeah.
But so I started training with him, all right? And then he at 16, 17 years old was fucking ahead of the game, dude. He just was a hustler. And he had his boy, we had this guy named A-Rash, who was when I talk about these stories, they sound crazy, but A-Rash was he was a known drug dealer that fucking had a lot of money for a fucking senior in high school or whatever the fuck he was. I think he was actually 1 year out of school. And then there was a guy by the name of, Cale Baker. Cale Baker was a Taekwondo black belt he did kickboxing, boxing, Taekwondo, and he just kind of had almost a mixed martial arts on your feet type of guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was doing a little bit
and this is 80s. This is fucking 87 maybe. I mean, it's a long time ago. And they all got together and they fucking funded a little gym called American Fighting Arts when I was about 15 years old. I was in Sean wasn't really into going back and forth to the boxing gym at that time, so I wasn't going. I went when I could, but I didn't go that much as much as I liked to. But it didn't matter at this point. We got our own gym now. American Fighting Arts is what it was.
Where
called.
was this going to be at? What city did you guys?
This was in the city of Orange, borderline Orange in Anaheim.
What year was this? Do you remember?
About 87.
Damn.
Yeah.
That far back, you guys.
87, 88.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
So
that was the first gym.
It's the first gym, yeah. It never really fucking went up. We had the gym. We took a few months building up, but Kale would come down and train us there, our sensei, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And we were training. I was trained. That's one of the hardest I've ever. What feels like it's one of the hardest you ever trained in your life because it's the first time you're really fucking training.
Your first time.
Yeah. Like you're breaking you're going through experiences you haven't done, so it seems like wow. But it also sets a tone for the rest of your life too, how you're going to continue to look at training.
Yeah.
But so we had the gym, but what we do is we'd have a fight night once a month instead of we hadn't opened it up. I actually taught a class at like 15 years old. I remember there was two kids that came down to it. They're older than me, and they went to a rival high school. And they came down to take a class, and Kale's got me teaching it, and I'm thinking to myself, this is embarrassing.
It's a little bit,
maybe
a little too soon.
These two guys would kick my ass right now. You know what I mean? But but it didn't like. But regardless, I haven't thought about this thought. I forget this thought even exists, but we're having this conversation.
What am I gonna teach these dudes?
Yeah, fucking hey, throw a front ball kick. But
oh shit, that's crazy.
So, but we'd have a lot of fight nights there.
Yeah,
and so we'd have a fight, and that's where we'd actually make money because we sell beer and we'd have fight. We'll sell an entry fee, and then we sell beer there, and beer is where you make all the fucking money off the keg, obviously.
For sure.
But especially at that age, rather we're like, I mean, you could have made a few $100 and it felt like
that's great at that time too. That's a lot of money.
So
you're doing the fight nights and shit.
Yeah, we're doing fight nights, and I want to say that maybe lasted a year. Maybe it didn't last long because it was a business. And Kale, the guy that was kind of the sensei guy that came in, that was gonna, and he was good 20 years older than us. He's like, I'm out. You know what I mean? He knew what we didn't know. He knew that we're not going to make any money doing this shit. We're just going to start. Yeah, although I was talking about Arash, who was the one that funded it all. See, he funded it all too with the that's why I brought him up. He had all the money for it. Yeah, that was a cool dude, man. He ended up getting shot and killed. Yeah, but he was a cool motherfucker. He would take me to lunch thing because I was talented. Like when I was you could see in the room that I had something going
special.
Something special, yeah. Yeah. And this guy said, I'm a sophomore. He's a year out of high school, but that's why he dug on me, obviously, and he'd take me on cruises.
It's people like that, bro. People that believe in you. He take you on cruises and shit.
Yeah, yeah. That's when you stop and look back at it. You're like, oh, this guy was the coolest, fucking, richest. Everybody fucking. He was respected. That guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's still the only guy today that I witnessed do this. And I don't know if somebody can do it. I'd love to see it. But this motherfucker would cruise, we're going, and he would roll a fucking joint with one hand. He would go. He was
one hand.
Yeah, one hand. Can you do it one-handed?
Fucking good.
You do it
I'm not gonna lie to you.
You break it
Jason
down.
Parilllo.
Yeah,
I could. Yeah, back
you
in the day.
You do one hand?
I don't know one hand, but I could definitely control the wheel with my knees.
Oh yeah, I do the knee thing. I take bong totes with the knees. Do the knee just fucking hitting a 2-footer?
But we don't do that no more.
Yeah, that's not impressive. I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you.
One-handed. Yeah, well, that's pretty.
Roll it. He'd put it all in, and you would fucking roll that motherfucker one hand, lick that cocksucker, and you're on. I mean,
that's just hilarious. Bro.
But that also,
that's.
But that's a tempo of just being really. I mean, I'm desensitized to weed at 15 years old. I smoked weed for the first time when I was 8 years old. Yeah, so fucking weed was nothing. But it was still today. Never seen a guy roll with one hand. But anyways,
me neither.
He funded the whole. He funded the whole thing, and then that just kind of. He got. I think we closed the gym. To be honest, to be fair, if I remember back, because I would say the reason he got shot and killed, and we had no more money to fund the gym, but. That's not the case. We actually had to close down because we're a bunch of kids. Yeah. And then the sensei guy was like, he actually asked me when they closed. He asked me, him and his wife, they go, hey, we want to take you with. We're going to go travel and we're going to do martial arts seminars and we want to take you with us. I was 15 years old or whatever it was, and I'm like, and I didn't tell Sean, none of those guys that because. I think everybody felt like he just kind of bailed on us. And he kind of did, but he didn't bail on me. Because he called me up. He called my parents up. He's like, my parents like, what the fuck? Was this guy a pervert? No, but, and he, because he actually, well, regardless, he fuck, dude. This is I don't remember. I do remember all this, but I said no, whatever. Stayed there, and then eventually from there went over to Westminster on a full-time basis
for the boxing. Yeah. Was that a big gym back in the day?
The Westminster boxing 100%. I think Westminster boxing is a significant gym. I mean, you've had everybody. I mean, Carlos Palomino came out of that gym. Let me think of who. Again, that's good. But I used to see everybody. I know. I remember coming up. I must have been maybe 18 years old, something like that. I don't know. The age is just remembering any of these memories are tough. But at the same time, what age you were exactly at the time is tough. But
And the coach there was Jesse Reed.
there was a lot of coaches. Like I was around a guy, Jackie McCoy, who was Jesse's coach, who was a Hall of Famer. You had Jesse Reed, you had Noe Cruz, you had Spencer. For some reason I never remember Spencer. Spencer and Noe Cruz would go. They must have been in their 50s or 60s at the time.
Yeah,
and they'd be just sit outside and just pull down cigarettes all day long. Probably why I smoke still today, because of old coaches. I'm like, you know,
yeah.
And they just pull down, say, just wait for a new kid to come in. Yeah, it was a crazy scene because I fought every day. Like Jesse, you spar every day.
Yeah,
5 days a week.
Full on,
full on spar.
KO.
KO, you get KO, and I'm sure there's some guys that would let me off the hook at it because there's guys that, I mean, I got a late start in boxing.
Yeah,
you know, all these guys are boxing at 8, 9 years old.
Yeah,
you know, here I'm in my mid-teens trying to figure this shit out.
Just starting to do this shit.
I'd go to amateur fights and see these 8-year-olds just fucking pimping, and I'd be like,
oh shit,
so I'm not fighting him, am I?
Damn.
No, but. Yeah, I'll tell you. But so every day, and I was a white kid in the gym, you know. So it wasn't like that. You're white meat, you know.
Yeah.
And it was predominantly Mexican. There's Mexican and blacks. But I mean, there were some white kids. There's a kid by the name Mike Walsh who was a white kid, pretty boy white kid that was a stud. He never, you know. Not a lot. There's a lot of fighters that I've run across, and you think this guy could have been great.
Yeah.
You know, and he didn't. There's something that everything's got to come together.
100%.
You know, in order for that to be great.
Yeah, I've thought that about people too, and then also in music too.
Yeah,
like I got a couple homeboys that I can't believe they never made it. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's how it goes.
Fuck, I think I want to do that too. It might give you a little spare on the air.
What I learned from my homeboys when I used to make rap music is you always take one of the headphones off your ear so you can really hear your voice.
Yeah, it sounds like a little.
So now you know how you sound.
Shit, I'm a professional now.
we learning. so you're training in the Westminster gym, and then you started fighting. If I'm correct.
Yeah. I mean, it took me a couple years to fight. I would just fight in the gym all the time. And Jesse at the time had Orlando Canizales, who defended the bantamweight title 16 times. He's he's one of the best.
People don't realize like fighting in the gym is still fighting. Like you're like even like though you're not stepping in front of the lights and stuff like when you're training for real.
I would be going to the gym. I'd be on my way, and I would be driving down the 22 freeway, just fucking palms sweating. Just going, fucking, why am I can get off right here. I would look at every exit. I'm a pussy. Jesse, this is what a good coach is, though, too. I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's a good coach because if you want to do it, you're going to do it in a good. I believe I wouldn't want to let him down.
Yeah,
I would go, fuck, Jesse's going to think I'm a pussy if I don't show up, dude. Fuck, so I'd show up every day. Then I would get in there and I would scrap with this dude, whatever it was, 4 or 5 rounds. It wasn't a lot of rounds. You know what I mean? It's not like we're doing 12 rounds or doing 5, but it felt like a fight.
A fight every time.
And I would be getting my gloves taken off. I'd be like, fuck
yeah. It's a good
fuck
feeling.
Yeah. And then Jesse would look at another one of the coaches, Noe, Jackie, or fucking Spencer. There's a handful of other coaches, and I probably can remember them over the course of time, but I can't think of them right now. But he'd go, hey, how much your boy weigh? 130, 125, whatever. I was at that time, I probably was about 130 pounds, maybe 120 pounds. He's like, we want to work tomorrow. They go, all right. And all of a sudden, like right there, I'd be like, fuck yeah. And I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm going to fucking go with you tomorrow. Go home, feel good, wake up the next morning. Fuck.
when are you on the way there? Oh, fuck, what did I get myself into?
I got to go do this again. It was a daily, but you're learning to handle it.
Yeah.
You're learning because there's going to be a day of the fight where you got to handle that. Yeah. There's going to be a time where you got to handle the day of the fight in an amateur fight, but then you got to eventually handle the day of a fight in a professional fight with a crowd, maybe 1,000 people, maybe 500, whatever, and then it's got to grow. You got to start learning to handle and deal with that feeling the more you learn to handle dealing with that feeling, the more you're going to be able to handle it when the time comes, right? So once you get to the top. But regardless, I mean, I believe Jesse at the time probably had 15 or 20 world champions. Damn. Like I said, he was training Orlando County. Also, it wasn't like he also had been working with, I mean, he worked with Hector Camacho. He's worked with a lot of guys, Bruce Curry, Donald Curry. I mean, I can go on for days of all the guys.
Yeah, but how many Jason Parillos has he made?
He's made one.
There we go. So as you start fighting, like, is the goal to become like a professional boxer and do that for a living? Or you just no,
I was all in. And me and his son,
just boxing at the time.
Yeah, me and his son Jesse Jr. He actually, Jesse would have his son train the amateurs and he would train the pros. So I actually started training with Jesse Jr. quite a bit. Yeah. And then eventually I would train with just Jesse, but Jesse, and then Jesse Jr. started fighting himself as well. But yeah, we were the best friends. Me and him had the same mentality, grew up with the same mentality, and you know, we also got probably a lot of positive came from the relationship, but we also were two troublemakers, and we used to get
two troublemakers together.
We used to get some crazy shit. But everybody, I get it. If I think about it, I got all these crazy friends, and I'm like, what's the common denominator? I'm friends with all of them, and we all did crazy shit. Is it me that's fucking crazy shit?
We're all crazy. It's okay to be crazy. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, but yeah. So around around then, and I was probably had, I don't know. God, I probably was, I want to say 19 or 20, I would say 19 or 20. And I had, you know, I had fucking 15 amateur fights, maybe something like that. And Jesse's would start training the guy that I fell in love with on TV, Johnny Tapia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, and he's like, I'm training Johnny Tapia. I'm like, I've seen this motherfucker. Like when he got out of prison, like this is my guy. Like I love that guy, dude. He's like, he needs sparring.
Oh shit.
And he's like, I told Johnny that you're 9-0 as a pro, and I have 15 amateur fights. You know what I mean? But here's the thing: is I learned that in my own shoes that the gym's a different world. You know, it's a different and sometimes you see guys in the gym that. Some guys in the gym beat everybody up in the gym. You can't win a fucking game. Can't win a fucking fight.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some guys in the gym that's just, you know,
they're okay.
They're okay, and they just and they're probably in the back of their mind really working on certain things that nobody even knows.
Yeah.
But so I got hired to go up and spar with Johnny Tapia. I was turned out to be I was bigger than him.
Yeah.
You know, even though I was a young kid to him, you know, I was bigger. He was world champion. Me and Mike Samaza went up there. I don't know if you remember the name Mike Samaza, but he helped started the LA boxing.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even get into LA. At this time, we already had LA boxing, so we already had our second gym. Sean met up with this dude, Wade Alverson. I'm not going to cross stories too much here, but just to give you an idea, that's when I met.
That's Chito. How you guys opened the LA boxing.
Yeah, well, we opened LA Boxing in the middle of training. Like, just I've been just focused on this training conversation, but in the middle of this time, we also, 18. I was 18 when we opened up LA Boxing. Sean did. Sean and we had an older friend who was 28.
The original one that was on
Newport Boulevard.
That one?
I met you at the Circle K. That's where I met you. Right by
I've been there that long.
Yeah, 92.
Holy shit.
92.
Crazy.
Yeah. 92, we opened that, and Wade was a big part of it because here's a man in there hustling. We fucking
so you were fighting.
And at that time we furnished we got all our equipment because we stole it all from the fucking a woman's LA Fitness that was going under.
It's all for entertainment, folks.
Hey. This is I mean, if you want to press
you can't
charges
do nothing anyway.
Yeah, we're talking 80 statute of limitation. You know, but I mean that's just a whole side. Like I would live. Not that I'm in two different worlds really at this point, but and this is a little later when I went up to spar with Johnny Tapia, but I still was an amateur. Go up spar Johnny Tapia.
And how did did you beat him?
No, I didn't beat him up, but I was big on him. I mean, I could even hear his wife, who I'm friends with still today. I mean, she's a great woman, Teresa Tapia. I remember her talking to him on her spar. Like I remember thinking, you pick up things when you're fighting, and I'm like, I heard a little panic in her voice. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh fuck, like made me feel like I'm doing good, but it turned I was a little too big.
Yeah,
it was.
But that's a good feeling. Also, no disrespect to Johnny Tapia and the family, none of that. But it made you feel good, like somebody that you looked up to, somebody
that I'm doing good with. I'm doing good with.
That's it.
I'm not whooping his ass.
Exactly.
He's going to whoop my ass at 9 all day long.
Yeah,
I would never disrespect him like that.
Yeah,
but 100%. I felt like I did good. And matter of fact, I did good enough because I didn't get hired to come keep coming back. Samaza did, because Samaza met the side, and Samaza was a pro and slick, and it actually met the style of the guy who was fighting. But another one of my guys we trained with, Johnston, what was fucking Johnston's first name? But he went up. Jesse took him up. He was young, he was a few years younger than me. He took him up to meet Johnny Tapia while they're up in Big Bear. And he's like, my friend, I look at him like an older brother. He came up and sparred with you, Jason Parilllo. And Johnny goes, when Johnstone came down the fucking mountain and told me this, dude, I fucking went on a fucking 5-mile run right away. He came down, he goes, dude, it was so cool talking to Johnny Tapia. And he's like, oh yeah, your friend Jason Parilllo, he's gonna be world champion one day. I guarantee you that. And I'm just like, wow. Dun, 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 dun,
Rocky
dun,
music
dun,
starts
I'm
playing,
like,
fucking, let me put the sweatpants on and shit.
It was amazing. But
those motivational feelings, man. Those,
especially somebody that you looked at.
Man.
Is that coincidence? Special, I think not. It's just how things go.
It's how life works.
Yeah. Years later, I ended up being his mitt man for his 5th world title, which is crazy, but that's years down the road, But so
LA boxing.
So that's where we got her. That's where we're all making money.
That's where you guys started. I honestly didn't know you guys had. I always knew that spot, but I didn't know it was around that fucking.
Well, there was no franchise. There was one LA boxing.
Damn.
Costa Mesa, and that's
And you guys was shit. Yeah, everybody. Yeah. You got a lot of people going through there.
Oh fucking! I mean,
tell me this. How did you first off, before we move on to like the coaching part, like the getting into the coaching, what happened with the boxing that you stopped fighting? It's injuries, but because maybe my body doesn't hold up. I don't know. I got double vision in my left eye. This side, if you see, will drift off a little bit. And I got nerve damage in my left hand. I only got half my left hand. Yeah. I mean, I can make a fist and stuff, but this is all done. Yeah, but it just goes to show, bro. Like you loved the sport, and because of physical limitations doesn't mean you have to stay away from fight. Just because you can't fight or you're not going to fight anymore doesn't mean like it's over. Yeah, this is where the story really begins. I almost without even realizing it would, and not intentionally. I don't think this was necessarily Jesse's idea, but he probably maybe saw it back in his mind. Who knows? He's 86 now years old. He's seeing what I see back then. I'm seeing what I see in kids today. And I understand that, but it's almost as if I was being groomed to be a coach, yes, as opposed to a fighter, because I wasn't that active. Because I had a lot of injuries. I would fight. I've had 2-year layoffs while I was fighting, and fortunately I had sponsors too the whole time. I mean, here's a white kid that looks like he can fight a little bit. We can make some money maybe off him in the future. It's just my work ethic also was great when it was on, and it was horrible when it was off. Yeah. Because we got this LA boxing. I'm teaching classes during the day. It's like fucking being a DJ in the club. I mean, every bit you're fucking everybody. You're fucking. I mean, I don't mean that. No disrespect. I got a hopefully wife today one day, but fucking yeah. And she knows. I tell her my history, but you're almost like you're getting everything that you want to get as a fighter, but you're not. Like, you're not doing the fighting part, and you're not kicking, but you didn't have to. You only kick ass if you. Everybody knows that you're the ass kicker in the fucking gym. Yeah. And any other ass kicker in the gym's probably getting a little bit of some love too. You got friends, you got anything you want. Didn't have a lot of money, but I definitely had all the other spoils of
of being like I made it.
Yeah.
I never made it. I didn't even fucking get anywhere. I didn't even fucking scratch the surface. You know what I mean? As a fighter, in my opinion, I look at it, I retired at 8-0 as a professional fighter, but
8-0.
Yeah, but I never. I was fighting guys with bad records, but tough guys.
Yeah, but still.
Bad guys, but these guys were bad. These guys will fuck up most guys. You know what I mean? You still got to get by those guys.
Yeah, you still got to be able to win those fights.
Yeah, because I know a lot of good fighters that I wouldn't, because you can match up who's fought who and stuff. And I knew fighters that I looked up that lost to guys that this guy beat, but then it's a rat race. I mean, you just got to hope that you handle it and be able to work up the ladder. But
regardless, you had a perfect boxing record.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I got. I can, I'm not
still motherfuckers undefeated like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
but yeah. So boxing career over.
Right.
This is when you decide you're gonna go full on coaching, or you had already?
No, I had already worked. I already worked a corner
MMA
for
or just boxing.
Oh, MMA, yeah, a lot of MMA. Because in MMA, that's what Sean McCauley did. That's my boy.
Yeah,
he did no holds bar. Actually, he was doing bare knuckle, tape the wrist.
Yeah,
fought Eric Polson.
Old school.
Your boy Eric.
Shout out to Eric Polson.
Yeah, Eric Polson, man. Yeah, I mean, but I think he was the youngest guy in the tournament. I think Henzo Gracie won the tournament at the time.
Yeah,
but he was like 23. I think Eric probably was closest. I think Eric was probably 30 at the time.
Yeah,
something like this.
Who was your first #1 guy? Like most that you were with the most that took it. Like when I look back at your career, because I'm a fan of the sport. I love the sport, and that's why I know a lot about you. I know like one of the earliest guys was BJ.
Oh yeah, BJ was my okay. Well, BJ,
let's get
BJ got
Penn.
me.
Shout out to BJ Penn.
BJ
motherfucking
Penn.
man. One day, come bless the podcast and come through, bro.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
Right before we get to BJ, I had, which like I said, I got Johnny Tapia.
Yeah.
Wanted Jesse to just coach, and he wanted somebody else holding the mitt. So I actually did an interview to go. I did a tryout to go hold the hand pads for Johnny Tapia, and went out, did it, nailed it. During this whole time, I probably was in the middle of an injury, I believe, at the time. But so worked with him for 8 weeks up in Big Bear. Stayed up there was a mitt man every day and whatnot. Then worked his corner at Madison Square Garden when I was, God, how old was I? Probably was 25, maybe.
Damn.
I don't know.
You're that good at like
to hold a hand pass for Johnny Tapia.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You were that
because
good
he's so fast, and he doesn't want it. He doesn't want a. It's actually started my rhythm of holding the hand pads too, because he didn't want a set combination. He didn't want double jab, cross, left hook. Followed up with another right hand, where he wanted to just kind of throw and you catch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we get into a synchronize, and going, which is crazy because when we did an open workout in New York City at Church's Boxing Gym back then, I forget what year it was. I want to say 2002 maybe. They're doing an open workout for HBO and the whole media, and I'm a kid, and he's like, and I've been his mitt man, but now it's in the media, so we're gonna have Jesse go do it, because it's the media and the fight's coming. And Johnny goes, no, he goes, I want Jason to hold a hand pads for him. So I did a 5-round open workout for HBO, the whole media. I said, I'm going, dude, fucking,
this is it.
And right after the fight, this is why you start knowing, like, fucking, right after the thing's over, fucking Johnny comes over me chewing on a straw. I used to like to chew on a straw, and he fucking puts his arm around me, goes, great job, kid. Because he's 10 years older than me or something like that. I'm like, God bless, man. Fucking, and I went on to fucking hold hand. I mean, I worked with a couple other boxers as well, but let's move on to MMA.
But you won a world title, as a coach, basically, right?
But basically as a coach,
in boxing,
in a boxing world title, yeah.
So that's a big ass accomplishment, right?
Oh
there.
yeah,
and that groomed the mitt work for you a lot too, right?
But I had already been holding mitt.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. At 25, you were already on the level where you could,
at 25, I held the mitts for already 7 years. I've been holding hand pads.
So
that's how I made a living.
You were doing,
but it was 10 rounds a day. 10 people a day, because that's how I made money. I do private lessons, $50 a lesson or whatever it was. At $50 a lesson at that's good money now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not what people.
That ain't what you're going to get
that's
now.
not what you're going to get now. But
times that by like 50 or 60.
No. But, yeah, so it was, you know, I was kind of a savage holding hand pads. And my boy Pat Tenori, who I've been friends with and friends with Sean and all of us, you know, he started a clothing company, Ruka, RBCA, probably around this time. And he sponsored BJ Penn. I had been around. I trained a lot of MMA guys. You know, I had put, you know, from, you know, whoever. On the mitts, not like on a full time.
Just before you get into
let me see.
Name a few just that you were so.
Well, obviously Tito Ortiz, but
shout out to Tito Ortiz.
I ended up training him later as well, but I had to hold the hand pads for him. I want to say I'll let your boy along goes. He was fighting UFC stuff. I mean, Sean as well.
Everybody, because
you remember Chemo.
That's my boy.
You remember Joe Son?
Chemo's
the sicko in prison.
Chemo hasn't done a podcast or anything like that. He's coming on the podcast in the next couple of weeks.
I had held
crazy.
Yeah, see if he remembers me holding the hand.
Oh man,
you remember the white kid that held
shout out Chemo. Hey, Chemo. See, people ain't forgot about you. We love you, bro. See. The man right here bringing you up.
Yeah, well, Chemo was big time then. He was a big deal. He was a guy that almost beat Hoist, but Hoist pulled his hair or something like this.
People forget that. Yeah, fight. Chemo was a fucking savage.
Well, he was like a street fighter, really.
I love that dude.
Dave Abbott, Tank Abbott used to be trained with Jesse back in the day.
I'll tell you one thing about Chemo that while we're on the subject, like that dude used to like come to all my belt promotions. Like even though he wasn't training as much anymore, he was kind of like on the end of the training cycle when I started. But he would always come to every one of my promotions all the way to black belt. And
that's cool.
And he would always just
he was a good dude. I never really got close with him, but he always seemed like he was a good dude.
I love that dude. He called me the other day. He's like, man, I've been watching what you're doing. I'm so proud of you, man. That meant a lot to me coming from him. So shout out to Chemo, man. Can't wait. Yeah. So you were already kind of.
No, I fucked with around with them, but I wasn't into it. I personally thought, because even though these guys are monsters, they can crush me like a fucking bug. But I didn't really respect it a lot. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I like
come from
boxing. It was like, and at that time, the level. That's what I mean. These guys are
not good boxers.
Like when Jesse Jr., me and Jesse used to smoke out in the front, and I'd go, hey, let's go in the smoker bag, Jay, and I'd be hitting the heavy bag, and he's like, dude, Dave Abbott, Dave's gonna fucking fight in this pay-per-view thing. You see, I'm like, fucking Dave is? Like, you know, because Dave's a beast, dude. Yeah. He's a fucking good wrestler, but I don't understand this sport either at this time. I mean, I understand fighting, but I think boxing's here and everything else is fucking peanuts.
Yeah.
And he fucking sure shit. I mean, that guy was on fire. All the I mean, you look at their records now today. There's it's not like you're looking at the best records, but
it's crazy time.
Yeah, it's a crazy time. It was the beginning of it. Pat started. Pat was
he sponsors BJ.
He was sponsoring BJ in jiu-jitsu and in MMA, obviously. But
and BJ at the time when he sponsored him was big, right? Like he was.
Oh yeah, BJ was big, and then he left. He left the UFC and went to K1, and they had like some issue. You know, he was going. I mean, and he was going up and down fighting Lyoto Machida, fighting everybody. Yeah, fighting exactly. Savage. He's just doing savage things that he does.
Dude's a fucking savage.
And then I think he finally said, "You know what? I'm going to take it 100% serious." It was his first fight back with the UFC, and he was going to rematch Jens Pulver, the only guy to beat him.
I remember that. Didn't they do the show too, The Ultimate Fighter?
They did The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, man. That's when I really became a big fan of BJ.
And and he had come off 2 losses prior to that fight. So I think that, his management, his team, and BJ decided, fuck, I'm going to take this more serious than anything in the world. And I'm going to bring in guys, and I'm going to start working on just being the best fighter I can be. And he was connected with Pat, and I had actually worked with him, I think, before the Carlo Uno fight, years before that. But there's a name. I had worked with BJ, but BJ too. I had held the hand patch for BJ. I wasn't. That's not what I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't coaching on a full-time basis. We've got a few years here that we've kind of missed, but let's not go back into it. But and at this time, when he's doing The Ultimate Fighter, I'm training a guy by the name of Danny Perez. Shout out Danny Perez. He won 2 world titles in boxing. They weren't the WBCs, the IBFs, the major world titles, but there were a couple world titles that he won. And I got a good story about Danny, really, but Danny came. Me and Danny used to be sparring partners. I'm not going to get into the Danny Perez story. That'll be for another time. But he's a good dude, and I was working with him, and I was up in a sling. I had one arm because I got in a big bar fight and got fucked up and fucked my arm. That's where my arm damage came from.
Oh fuck.
So I was holding hand pads for one hand for guys. That's how I was doing it for a good 2 years, 2 or 3 years, I think. And then after it, I started training BJ with one hand. And I would just tell everybody, hey, listen, it's like fucking one hand, though. He's all, this is a good story. So Pat goes, he's fighting Jason Parilllo. He's like, you should bring out Parillo. Remember the guy that you hit the hand pads with? Because me and him hit it off right away. Yeah. We clicked like, bam, right away, with BJ. And he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I love the way that guy held the hand pads. Bring him out. Yeah. Now I'm coming. I got one eye and one hand. My eye was worse. This is before. This is fucked up. Yeah. And I get out there and fucking JD, his brother, picks me up from the airport, and he's like, hey, you want to go to sandwich? He sees me reading the menu. He's like, where should I go? One eye. And he's like, my arm was still fucking. I go, one hand, one eye. He's like, hey Pat. What the fuck did you just send out here, dude? Damn. You know what I mean? What the fuck? And then we got in the gym, and that all fucking changed, fortunately. It all changed right away. I mean, and...
Damn, you're that much of a beast with one hand? You can hold pads like that, bro.
It's great, bro. Yeah. And it's also a guy that's looking for... As a fighter, you're looking for something. If you have something... I now had... At this time, I'm only... Whatever I did with it, we're a few years later now. I've got to be 30... Maybe 30, I don't know what I was, 31, maybe, I don't know what I was. But I also had worked the corners in 2 or 3 HBO fights, Showtime fights. Like I did
boxing?
Yeah, in boxing, Francois both. I was sport training partners with Paul Spadafora, who was a IBF lightweight world title. Shout out Paul, man, he's a great dude.
I didn't know you were doing all this on top of like.
I was doing this before all the
before all the MMA.
Yeah. Yeah, before all the MMA.
Okay, I see. Yeah. I see. Those are the years we skipped, guys. So we brought that back. That's
good.
We
brought it back a little bit.
Good, good. That's good because we want to keep the story like making sense.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to make sense when you're thinking this far back, but I'm trying to do my best. And so I go out there, nailed it, fucking. That's where there's matter of fact they used to put it on Ruka stuff. I mean. Pat and I might not agree on how this started, but on a lot of the Ruka they put PM approved because that was the joke that JD said. JD's like, what the fuck you bring out there? And then 2 days later he goes, shit, PM approved, man. You know what I mean? Because fucking we got what we wanted.
Hey, what was BJ like in those times? Was it fun to be around?
He's the best, yeah. BJ's as funny as anybody.
They're kind of, their family's kind of wealthy out there already?
They do well. Yeah, they do well. Yeah, they do well.
So
but
he kind of had it hooked up out there?
Yeah, but you wouldn't know it.
No, he doesn't seem like he acts like that.
They don't live like they're
balling.
Yeah, they don't live like they're balling, but my guess is they probably are. Yeah. I don't go too much deep in asking about it.
All good. Yeah, I remember hearing the story on like a countdown, like they were talking about his family and stuff. So like he was already really good at jiu-jitsu, and now he had you.
He's a beast, and he was already a good fighter.
He was already good at everything. But now he has you.
Yeah, but now he has something. He's like I said, he's coming off first fight back in the UFC. Jen's Pulver guy beat for, so I go out there, and then Jen's kind of was more of a boxer anyways back. That was kind of the style, so it made sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And I would move with BJ back then too. I would spar with him a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't, we wouldn't fucking, we wouldn't open it up as much as you would with a sparring partner, let's say, but I would work with him back then that way as well. And it was because I had one hand too, but I just kind of keep this hand, kind of out of the padding a little bit. But that's neither here nor there. So we just clicked. And we really clicked, and he liked all my experience. He liked to hear how much time I spent with Jesse and really understanding the mentality of a fighter and how to be a fighter. Jesse taught me how to fight. Yeah. We all think that fucking, how to really fight. We all learn to fight fighting. That's how you're going to learn to fight is actually fighting. But the psychology behind
mentality,
it, the real psychology behind behind it all to because you know to peak a man to be his best,
right?
You know, and that happens more coaching wise. That happens more verbally than it does physically. I mean, you got to know the fundamentals in this and that, but. And you got to be able to have good eye for body mechanics and just what's going on, you know. But you definitely have to learn the mentality, and build the strength in the brain. And he was a genius at that. He still is today. And you know, I got that was the basic of my foundation of coaching. Really, right? Is this man fucking now just. Because Jesse would bring me anywhere he'd go. I became his right-hand man, too, as well. You know, his son was always his right-hand man, but his son actually got married, and he was actually doing some fighting himself. So, but this whole story's getting all fucking clustered together with me. But, yeah, anyways, so I connected with BJ. We hit it off,
and you changed kind of his career, right? Like,
that's what I mean. Like I wouldn't. Nobody would. I mean, not that I changed his career. I was there at the right time, but at the same time, he listened to every fucking word I said at the time. Yeah. Now we're best friends. You know, but that's why we still talk all the time. That's why I talked to him for 2 hours on the phone yesterday because there's still, you know, I feel like when BJ's going to go, if BJ's going to go, he's running for city council. If he's going to go do a speech, he'll call me up 2 hours before. I feel like he doesn't say it, but I'm like. Oh, you're about to go in a fight right now, huh? You want to hear me ramble to you, don't you?
Good coach, that's important.
Yeah, but we really connected. Went on, won a world title,
the world champion, the UFC world champion,
and he defended 3 times. We had four lightweight titles, and he was the only lightweight to fight.
Man.
The lightweight to fight the welterweight George St. Pierre at the time. In the middle of that, we went up and. I mean, it was crazy, and I want to touch back on this is when he started taking it serious and he brought in his strength and conditioning coach. He brings in me. He brings in so now he's got this more this solid thing going, and he diets down. And now he's a real 155 because you know he's fighting Lyoto Machida. He's 185 pounds earlier days. You know he's fighting George at 170, but he was kind of a blown up. A small, bigger guy, you know, but now he got down to his actual weight, 155. He's a real 155 pounder, and he did that, you know, let's go quote unquote scientifically. He dieted down, he trained down, he took it 1,000% serious, and now he's got to go try to bounce back up to 170. He was way too small for George. Is all I'm saying. I'm giving him the excuse on that, and he hates to hear it because. In his mind, he should have been fighting the
savage.
He'd fight the heavyweight champ.
What a savage!
He's a savage,
man. Like that tear that he went on to become lightweight champion. I remember because like people don't remember. Like BJ didn't go out there to win on points and shit. BJ went out there to put you out.
100%.
He either came in there to knock you out or choke you the fuck out. And BJ was nasty, bro. And he was fun to watch fight.
Well, what makes BJ the prodigy too is because he puts it in motion. So if you go over something. He'll put it in motion when the next time you're sparring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's what I mean. Within the next couple of times, where there's stuff that I'll work on a guy and I'll just stop working on with it because it's not in his makeup.
Yeah.
He can't apply to what we're working on. It doesn't click with his coordination or whatnot. And BJ wasn't this overly coordinated guy. He's not a guy that I used to say. So you give BJ a football. You're gonna think the guy's throwing it with his left hand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Basketball, he's gonna miss he's gonna airball. You know, but you put some gloves on and say, fuck you, see what happens. You know what I mean? He's a fighter. He's a real fighter as opposed to athlete.
Legend. Shout out to BJ. I'll tell you a real funny story before I move on, BJ. His strength and conditioning coach, Marinovich's.
Marv, yeah. So that was later. Marv
they
came
had a
after
son.
He came out Todd. I used to work with Todd a little bit, but
the one that played football.
USC, yeah. Todd, he's a good dude.
I got into a riot because of that dude back in
really?
the days. Yeah.
Oh, really?
He came in our little area and he was like, he was just coming in off the streets.
Yeah, I know. I was
trying to look out for him, but I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to look out for him. He's not in my car.
Yeah.
And then they come and they raid our little dorm area, and they wanted to, and he was like going off on people because like his food got took, and I was telling people, man, leave him alone. He just got here. He's like,
yeah.
I was trying to keep them from packing him out.
Oh yeah, that was nice of you.
And then,
you got this fucking this tall white boy redhead dude.
And then we end up getting a riot because of it. So,
yeah.
But it ends up coming back on me. But that's just something funny that, related to that. I thought I should
the Marinoviches came after. BJ had already defended the title once against Sean Shirk. So he had a defense, and then he lost a welterweight fight. And then they brought in. That's when they brought in Marv. The funny thing about Marv is you'll hear Marv's name like, "Oh, dude, it's changed it." Marv didn't change shit. Marv didn't do shit. Marv got him to just back in extras, and I think that was part of the fucking payment. To be honest, is hey, give this guy credit. Because I never, even at the time we had another coach that was involved that had been with BJ forever, and I wouldn't say, like when they come say, what's your position? I'd say boxing coach. I won't say head coach, but that's what I was. I'm doing, that's where I was the main guy, dude. Yeah. And BJ listened to every fucking thing I said.
They made such a big deal about the Marinoviches. Oh, now he's training with the Marinoviches on the countdown. I was like, really?
And I was already, it's okay. Like I'd even let the other coach take the position of I'm just here for this. I'm here for my guy. I'm here for my guy. That's all I knew. You've always been like, and I didn't want to even be in this sport.
Yeah,
I didn't give a fuck about this sport. I just fucking connected with BJ. He fucking starts kicking asses. Like fucking here we go.
That's why I always think about you, bro. As like one of the guys that gets overlooked because you're so fucking humble, bro. And you've always kind of put your fighters first, and you've always kind of been in the background.
First. Anytime a coach starts trying to play celebrity,
it's a real G,
it's
bro.
Like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, but you're not doing this shit.
But at the same time, bro, like it's important for people to know like people like you, because if it's not people like you, a lot of these people's lives don't change. Believe it or not. Like there's some people that I'm sure 100% in your time of coaching, you've changed a lot of people's lives, and you might not have even realized it.
Yeah, and it's always nice when somebody comes up and compliments you for something that they care about. He said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, thank you, man." I've had some big name fighter. I just had it recently. It was a big name fighter. I won't even mention his name, but his friend came up to me and he goes, "Hey, listen, since he's been around you and working with you, he's such a better person."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's almost more important. That's as important as fucking winning a world title. Yeah. I mean, to me, it is and it's corny, but it's true. And like otherwise, I would be. Yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you noticing that. I appreciate you saying that, because the fighter does come first. It's like, your fighter. I get backlash for a lot of shit because all I'm doing is stand up for my fight. That's my job. My job is to have my fighters back.
You're a real
My job's not to fucking sit there and go, I did this. I made this guy. No, that's what it would drive me nuts. So with the whole Marinovich shit, you'll hear him on any pod. You'll hear him on fucking Joe Rogan. Will be like, "Oh, dude, it's all changed." He did Marvin. Like, what the fuck? Said, dude, he was fucking walking on pipes with this guy, doing all these, which was great for me. At first I loved it because now we're 6-7 months out from a fight. Let's say, like we don't have a fight in line.
Yeah,
this is what he's supposed to be doing. Is all this shit. Yeah. It's perfect. So, but now they're going. This guy wants to do 8 hours of fucking this type of trade. BJ would finally catch on, and he'd finally go, okay, bro, 2 months before every fight, we'd have to kind of start cutting him out and then bring him back in for the last maybe week or two. Yeah. We'd have to come because he didn't want to see BJ wrestle. He didn't want to see him do jiu-jitsu. He didn't want to see him box. He didn't want to see him fucking... I'm like, what are you... So me and Marv got in a crazy fight one time at Ruka. I mean, it was crazy, like a fucking... He quit... Okay, this is a story about Marv Marinovich, and our situation is there was one camp, I think it was Diego Sanchez he was fighting, and Marv was in. He comes in. He's good to have for the 2 or 3 months leading up to the last 6 to 8 weeks. You know what I mean? Because now we got to focus on fighting.
Yeah.
And sparring and do this and doing that. So we were up to about 6 weeks, and BJ hadn't even put on a pair of gloves yet. And he hadn't fucking done, he hasn't done a lot of stuff that he needs to start also do. And I'm like, I get it, but we got to do, So I said, Marv, we got to, I'm going to have him. So he goes, okay. He's like, okay, I'll agree with you. I'll watch him spar tomorrow. I said, all right, this is what we got to do. We're getting ready for a fucking fight. He's defending the world title, and it was either Kenny Florian or fucking Diego. And I think it might have been Kenny.
I remember both those fights.
Yeah, but I think it was Kenny because this was, we already had to fucking No, it was Kenny because it was our first fight. It was our first fight with Marv. It was Kenny, and that's funny because everybody complained about BJ's condition, but he went at the time when he fought Sean Shirk and stopped Sean Shirk in the fifth round, at the end of fourth round. Yeah. Dude, BJ was fucking gunning him down, flying through the fucking air. I didn't see a condition problem.
I didn't see one either.
Because they wanted to blame that on the George St. Pierre fight or whatever. That was the condition. You had a big bad motherfucker, probably
had a guy that was really fucking good.
Yeah, really good in the world, and he beat us. Yeah. You know, we gotta come to a conclusion on that.
Can't
sometimes
give him no credit. Let's just take.
Yeah.
BJ didn't do this.
Yeah, exactly. But it's your job to fucking kind of give him an excuse a little bit, but there's no excuse there. Whatever. That's made me lose my train of thought. But so.
Yeah, BJ. So BJ.
So we're coming up in the fight. So we finally get BJ to spar for a fight, right? Yeah. Marv's like, I see him talking to BJ over in the corner after sparring, and BJ's kind of like putting his head down, like I'm like,
what is he saying?
And I walk up to him, I go, what's going on, Marv? And he's like, oh, nothing. I just think he looks like complete shit. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I think that shit work is too slow because there was only exercise Marv wants to do. It lasts 8 seconds. I don't care what it is. It could be a fucking sprint. It could be a fucking side-to-side shuffle. It could be standing on the pipes and running around the pipes. You know, whatever. It's only going to be 8 seconds.
Explosive.
It's like, it's for volleyball. Football plays 8 seconds. 8 to 13 seconds maybe.
Yeah.
Right? But
not for what BJ is.
But he also has to, it's a cross between a sprint, but you also have to do a marathon too because we got 25 minutes we got to go here.
Yeah.
You know, and we got to work on timing, distance, you know, movement, all this stuff. Yeah, he does look like shit. You want to know he looks like shit? Because he hasn't done this in fucking 2 months. He's been on a pipe. He's on a fucking pipe.
Fucking bouncing up and down on those pipes.
I said, Marv, I get up and I start doing high knees. I said, we ain't going to fucking defend the world title doing high motherfucking knees every day, motherfucker. And he's like, motherfuck you. He's like, now we're screaming at each other. And he goes, I'm done. I quit. I'm done. And he fucking walks out, storms out, and then me and JD his brother gets it because JD loves fucking Marv. Marv's is like the whole thing because they love it because they're like all this like because it makes sense that he's you know tries to be scientific about all this stuff like that. And fights not quite scientific. You know, fights fucking you know fight's a different animal than fucking than cutting your fucking 40-yard dash down by fucking .2.
Yeah.
You know,
he didn't get it. That guy didn't know it. Like, so I just don't understand. Like, some people all like that come into the sport like that have nothing to. They've never even done the sport. Like, it's kind of weird. Bro.
He's a sport conditioning guy.
Yeah,
you know. But so
for that sport though.
Yeah, right? But he walks out. He quits, and now JD and JD's mad because they're thinking Marv Marivich is the next coming of Christ, right? And Marv leaves. I said, you know what? I had a meeting later that night with Pat Tenori and with JD about BJ. I said, listen. And they're like, Marv won't come back if you're here.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm like, I said, all right. I said, I'll tell you what. We're fucking 6-7 weeks out from this fight. I said, it doesn't help me to fucking cause any waves. I said, I'll walk away from this. I'll walk away from this situation. I said, because I don't want to hurt BJ. All that matters is BJ winning this fight.
Yeah. And
like, okay. And I'm like, I could tell fucking, you know, I think JD was probably a little more happier about that because he had fucking, you know, he had a hard on with Marv. Which God bless him. Marv is a G. And I've learned a lot of stuff from Marv, to be fair, about conditioning stuff. You know what I mean? In this and that. But
just in that fight.
So I call up BJ. I said, BJ, I said, listen, I'm gonna stay. I don't want any ripples in this. I don't want you to have any fucking. This is a bad thing right now. A coach leaving. First of all, the fact that he's like, I quit unless that guy's out here. Fuck you, dude. Like you're fucking with this dude. It's not about you, dude. Yeah. This ain't about you. That's what every coach gotta say. It ain't about you. Yeah. It's about this guy. That's what it's fucking about. It's not about you. So, but he's making it about you. So, but he knows it. But he also, you know, he sees the cameras come in and film for the countdowns and stuff like that. So he just like, okay, I'm back. You know what I mean? He's 80s, and God bless him. I'm not that he's a bad person. Nothing. I don't like to say anything negative about people too, as well as I mean, I'm and there's some maybe negative undertones in here, but. He's like, fuck that guy. And I said, okay, if this is going to cause quakes in this fucking, in this camp, and for you, BJ, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I said, all right. That night, I wake up in the morning, 6 a.m. I get a phone call, and I pick it up. It's BJ. And I say, "What's up, B?" And he's like, "I just got rid of Marv. I'll see you at the gym."
Yeah, that's right.
And I said, "My man."
Yeah, that's
and I just hung up the phone. So we did that. We did that in 3 different camps. All 3 camps that we were with Marv, Florian, Diego Sanchez, and the first Frankie Edgar fight. We had to push him out 6 to 8 weeks before the fight because he didn't. And nobody knows that, and I'm just saying that because I know that a lot of people are like, this is facts. This is real. I'm there every.
This is the real shit.
That's a real deal.
Shout out to BJ Penn, man. Legend.
Yeah, BJ's a legend.
Legend.
And BJ knew that too, but it was nice. That's how hungry BJ was at the time. He was willing to do anything. You know, I like it. Sometimes they'll say, you know how I fought. I fought on fucking, hot dogs and beers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your last fucking 8 fights. You said, fuck this. I don't want to do this. When BJ took it seriously when he was the best in the world. Yeah, it wasn't because he was gifted. Yeah. He is a prodigy. I'll give you, he's got but that's because of this.
Yeah.
But when he was best, he was trained like the best. He made it a year-round project. Yeah. 24 hours a day. It was all wrapped. It was his life. His lifestyle.
And not just BJ, but you had there's so many that we could sit and talk about, like that you've trained along the way, like, Luke Rockhold, Michael Bisping, you got to the title, one of my favorites. Shout out to Michael Bisping, bro. The journey that you guys had was like especially knowing for a lot of people that don't know, like Mike only had one eye for a long time, and
that was after Vitor Belfort.
It's just amazing to see you guys you won another world title with Michael Bisping. You like that was another special moment for you. I mean, like, damn, just to go through these, to take these guys to this point, to this world champion, like the highest level. And even then, even with Mike, I still I remember there was a famous part where I think when he knocked out Luke, shout out to Luke, no disrespect to Luke, but I think when you stood there with your arms crossed, bro, that I'll never forget that moment. That most people would have been you would just that's right. That's that
was probably my most egotistical moment in the game. My ego just came fucking flying. I said, "What's up, motherfucker?" Told you, my motherfucker.
But that was crazy, man.
Because I had called it on a radio show that a week before. They said, "How's this fight going to end?" I said, "He's going to knock him out with a left hook."
Yeah.
And he had just dropped Anderson Silva with the left hook. And in the gym, it was showing up. In the gym, there's so much that goes on behind the scene leading up to that fight. Yeah. That's why when you have a bad show, when you have a bad fight, and people are like, "Oh, you should."
Yeah.
I hate when people, you need to do some fucking dude that can win a marble game, fucking sitting on his computer, fucking in a cubicle, talking shit.
Shouldn't have if you got time to sit there and talk shit, you shouldn't even have an opinion.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That too. But you do get opinion. Some of these in some of these positions, things don't go well. People are telling you how to do your job, but you just roll with the punches. BJ took so much shit for. Yeah, I never. That's I think what probably bums you out the most is you're not going to get. And again, it shouldn't be a lot. But I'm a human being. You still want credit. If you know that you really did, with I could tell you everything we had going on with the Joe Stevenson fight with the Florian. Everything came. That's what made BJ so special. Is because what we were working on, the idea we had going into this fight came to play. Yeah. With the upshot with fucking Joe Stevenson, with out jabbed and Sean Shirk, and there's a lot of stuff that's a basic gameplay, but that you got that. But then he would, he would add, he would.
Yeah, you had this way of getting these guys what they needed, what they little additions and from what I heard a lot through the grapevine was not just the fighting, but also up here, as far as mentality wise, is one of the main things that I've heard about you.
I see interviews after these, whether there's title fights, a main event fight, you have anybody, say from Cyborg to Bisping to Chito to being BJ, and they would say you can't. I go. I know it's hard for you, but when people because it's hard to explain when somebody say, and how does he help you out? You know, also how does he goes, and all of them will say the same thing. They'll say he helps me mentally.
Yeah,
and they're like, well, how does he do that? And you can't.
No,
how do you explain that?
You can't explain.
You said you have a year for me to explain this to you.
Only a real coach can understand what that is.
Yeah,
it goes deep, like much more than just on the mat. There's a lot to it, and only you in that fight.
Oh, Bisping used to say to me, he goes, when I used to think I feel like I get my best sessions with you. Because we train every day, you know what I mean? We train but some of my best moments were the hour and a half we would spend after we're done in the cage or in the ring, and we'd sit down and we'd talk, and he'd talk to me for fucking an hour. Yeah, and he's given me some of my favorite compliments I've ever had because he's very honest with everything, and he's a man. He's a real man, and he'll shoot you straight.
Legend, dude. Another legend.
He's a guy that has told me, he said, you not only helped me as a fucking fighter, but you've helped me as a person, and that makes you just fucking go.
Yeah, awesome.
My man, yeah.
Shout out to Mike Bisping, another world champion you raised. And before we go, bro, there's I want to talk about most recently. You almost had another one.
Yep.
You almost had another one just a couple weeks ago. Like I'll tell you a funny thing, right? I met Chito, probably doesn't remember this, but I actually met Chito. His kid went to elementary school where my daughter and my son went to elementary school in Irvine. I think they moved from there, but I remember him picking up, I think it was his daughter from either the Rainbow Rising or from the elementary school there. So I met him. I just said hi to him. He probably doesn't remember that shit, but I was really rooting for you guys, man.
Thanks, man.
And bro, like, what you've done with, like, to see like the evolution of him and how good he is, and above everything, what a fucking warrior, man.
Dude, Chito's a special spirit,
fucking man, that fight was crazy. I thought he was gonna come back and win, bro.
He's another guy
to the last second of the fight, I'm like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna get him. He's not gonna stop. Like, I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, he's gonna get it.
If he hit that hook to the body 10 seconds earlier, he might have,
bro.
But yeah, no, that was heartbreaking. And I'll be honest, I mean, I do take my hat off to Sean O'Malley, because
I don't because I just recently seen something I saw on him disrespecting him after the fight, and I think once you
that's unfortunate. That's why you don't want to fucking give the guy too much credit. But he did exactly. He
won the fight. Good
we
job.
knew exactly what he was going to do.
Yeah.
I have my buddy sent me an interview from a month before the fight. And it's like, and I break down exactly what we're going to be up against and what we're going to have to deal with. And he was able to fucking put into play.
What do you think it was like? What do you think Sean was able to do like that? Was able to win him that fight that Chito had the issue with?
Well, Chito has the issue with Chito works for every move he makes.
Yeah.
If you see his fight, like, holy fuck, the head kick, but he's got he's like a BJ Penn in that area. And Michael Bisping's the same way. They're not athletes. These guys are fighters.
Yeah.
They're not athletic dudes. You know what I mean? I mean, they're athletes. They know what I'm saying. If they hear this, I don't have to worry about it. They know exactly. They're fucking fighters.
They're fighters.
Right, and that's what Chito. So Chito does it. And we did have guys in the gym that could cut and move the kind of way that, and Chito has a problem with that. Look, I mean, even, that movement.
That length and the evading.
And the movement. Realistically, Chito, that's why I told Chito after this fight, I mean, we just had this whole conversation about Marvin Marinovich, but I'm like, okay, this is what we do need to work on. Some more agility work, some type of Marv Marinovich type of shit, to be honest. I mean, and shout out back to you, Marv. I mean, I know I maybe not wasn't to say the nicest things, you know what I mean? But, I did learn from you as, man, but you got this profound credit for something that you were a small part of. You know what I mean? And
just keeping it 100.
God bless.
Keeping it 100. Yeah. We got to, above everything, we got to keep it 100. And if we can't keep it 100, then why would we even do this? So
if you don't keep it 100, you shouldn't be wearing that Santa Ana shirt.
Shout out to the city, you know what I'm saying? But that's all good, So you think that will help him a lot? Agility work,
and because he could. I mean, you look great in camp. He's knocking guys out. I won't even say it's like the Bisping fought. Bisping fought GSP for defend his world title. I mean, Bisping was knocking everybody on the gym. He looked so fucking good. And then the other guy did the right. Like I said, he did the right. I mean, Sean, that's what we expected, and he was quick and he was fast. He had endurance that we didn't expect.
Yeah,
because we never seen him go 5 rounds, and we seen him get really had it. You know, he get breathing heavy after 3 when he had a tough fight with Yan. You know, after the 3rd round, he was. That's also part of, you know, that was part of, we thought that was going to happen. The guy didn't slow down. He kept plugging away.
No, he was able to keep stick it through. Yeah.
So
Chito's wearing on him though.
He was.
Chito's like,
well, no, fight Chito will fight to death.
Dude, how can they hurt that? That guy's unhurtable. He got hit with a shot. Like I remember, I got kind of upset too. I'm like, why they got to play back the noise like of that the knee? Yeah. Why you got to? No, we don't want to. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Like you don't got to play that shit back, especially because I had money on. Like
dude, all those shots and Chito doesn't get busted up, and he was getting busted up a little bit. You know, that's why like in between rounds, a lot of people say to me, "Hey, what you should have done is told him." You know, dude, I'm talking to a man that just took a knee. That busted his face up. Yeah, you got to bring this motherfucker back to life. They don't understand because they don't understand fighting. Yeah. But you have to live what we've been talking about your entire life. Yeah. That's how you get to that point. I'm not just luckily training somebody for a world title. I didn't bullshit my way there. You know, and with Chito, I got him there. Yeah. You know, I helped. I didn't say I got it. He got himself there. Yes. He 100% got himself.
A big part. He says it himself.
I know he does, and God bless him, and I love him for that. Yeah. You know, I love him, and you do as a coach. You love it when they know it. Yeah. You know, like in Bisping was a lot like that as well. Yeah. You know, who just really gave me.
I remember.
Gave me a lot of credit because they also been through the grinder a little bit. That's what I kind of like. It's tough. You get a new fighter. He's got no fights, or he's got whatever. He's an up and coming fighter, and you're like, you know, I kind of want you to go through the wash a little bit. Yeah. You know, Chito's trained with everybody. He's trained down at the fucking Jacksons. He trained at fucking Oyamas. He's trained everywhere. You know what I mean? So. I like it a lot of times when guys have actually been to a lot of places because then they know what they're actually getting. You know, and that's why a lot of times they'll talk about the mentality.
There's a reason they come to you, bro, and then they end up in, you know, the main event.
Well, I mean, Bisping was coming off 2 losses when I started work with him and we went to the world title. You know, I mean, you know.
There's a reason, bro.
I mean, I'd like to believe in myself that way. I'm not looking for credit because that goes back to the coaches. The coaches making it about them. It's not about you. This is the thing,
though. You don't got to say it, bro. We'll say it for you. You know, and that's why I wanted. You know, that's why I wanted to have you here today, bro. Is because like you never and that's what I respect so much, bro. Is like, you know, being able to just be one of the. I'm still the same guy. I'm always gonna be the same guy, and you're like one of those real ones that you never like. You always look like I don't. Nah, you go ahead. You get your shine on. I'm gonna be here. I got you. I'm gonna get you right. You go shine, kid. Like
that's what it's about.
That's the way I look at you.
That
like,
is
that's
what it's
real
about.
Ass shit. And without people like
that's what makes you feel.
What up, everybody? Want to take a quick second out of the podcast just to give a shout out to our sponsor, the best criminal defense attorney I know. The last time I got in trouble, I needed somebody that was going to look into my case and actually fight for me and get me the best deal possible, and he did that. And I'll make sure that he does that for you. Make sure you shout me out if you guys reach out to him. They're the sponsor of the Convo. You know anybody, a family member or yourself that make a mistake, you want somebody like him on your side. Arash, please let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
Thank you. Arash Hashemi, 310-448-1529, or HashemiLaw.com, HashemiLaw.com, or just Google hashtag Better Call Hash. Remember that, Better Call Hash. You'll find me on every social media channel all over the internet. 310-448-1529.
You better call Hash.
Good, I care about it. I mean, fucking my fighters today, like, oh, you said, like, talk to BJ, it's for a couple of, these are a relationship now. You're my boy. Yeah. Like, I got your back now. Yeah. Let's fucking, and I think that's why I connect with the fighters a little bit more. I do.
What's known sometimes don't need to be spoken, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's the real shit with you, bro. You know, guys, this has been amazing. Like, you know, a blessing. Like, I don't want to just go too much because I want to have Jason back here again. This has been like, I learned a lot today. And like, man, like, you know, just, I wanted to give you like, I know you don't care about it and you're not looking for it, but you got to take the credit, bro, because you're an amazing coach.
I appreciate that.
And you know, a lot of people look at you that way, and the real ones know. And that's what matters. The real ones know, bro. Yeah. Shout out to the city. But bro, before we get out of here, like, you know, what anything coming up? Like, what are you doing? Like, can you let people know, like, you know, how they can follow you if they want to follow you? Like, you got anything going on, like, as far as teaching or?
Yeah, I got a young kid that's fighting next month, Max Tucker. I mean, just a young kid. I have a few young kids and a couple fucking and few pros, higher level guys. So I don't. But no, there's nothing I want to try to advertise, man.
And Chito will be back.
Oh, dude, Chito's gonna be
can't
back.
Wait. I can't wait, bro.
He's gonna do the right thing, man. And Chito's got. I think this is a good part of his story. And he was too young. I mean, he's 31 years old, but he's too young to maybe get it right now. I think he had to learn some lessons in this whole situation.
He's right there,
and he'll be back.
He'll be back. We'll get that title. You will have another title, and it's people like you, bro. That beyond the titles, beyond that. You're one of the best coaches to do it. You know, it's been an honor to have you here today. Thank you for coming through the Legacy TV. I hope you guys enjoyed the show and got to know a little bit about the man behind the man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to BJ Penn. Shout out to Luke Rockhold, Michael Bisping, Chito Vera, all the guys,
Cyborg,
man. The McCulleys, Cyborg.
Yeah, everybody.
Tito Ortiz. I said, shout out to everybody.
Oh, fucking RDA, baby.
Oh, yeah. RDA. You know, I'll tell you another funny story. I don't know. RDA's wife actually bought my CD as well.
Oh, no way.
Streets. She's like, yeah, my husband fights.
She's a wonderful person.
She gave me $15 like for my CD.
Shit, I think I only gave you 10.
Hopefully I won't have to do that no more because we got a lot of big things coming. But, brother, it's an honor. God bless you.
God bless you, man.
Thank you. And I'm gonna try to get him to coach me a little bit in case I do a celebrity match or something like that one of the day. I've been wanting to train with him forever. Guys, like, subscribe. Hope you guys like the episode, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Jason Parilllo, the motherfucking man, one of the best coaches to ever do it. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.